Hi everybody, just making a short video here which is designed to support our wider opening of the school over the next week or so. This is going to be particularly interesting for students in Year 10 and Year 12 who are going to be able to return to school for some face-to-face support from Monday the 15th of June. It may be particularly interesting to those students and to their parents and carers, but equally hopefully it might be interesting to all of our student body to have a little look at how the school is developing and the things we're doing to open the school more widely over the next few weeks. One of the things I would emphasise is that we are really looking forward to having more students back into school over the next little bit of time, and so we're very excited about welcoming people back. Equally though, we know that some of you are still not able to come back to school and are not able to be in school, and we will continue to do all we can to support you with your learning from home over this time as well. So I've already written to all parents and carers about our arrangements, and I would really encourage everybody to refer back to that letter. The video though is meant to support the letter and may also help to illustrate some of the things that will be happening within school. The first thing which I would want to emphasise is that of course what we're able to do has to be in line with government guidance. The school will be only open in addition to vulnerable and key worker students to students in Years 10 and Year 12 from Monday the 15th of June. And it's important to emphasise at this point that we are only allowed to have a maximum of 25% of the students on site each day. The way we've decided to organise that is that each of our students in Years 10 and Year 12 will get a day in school each week, and that will be the same day every week, running from Monday to Thursday. And then each week one of those groups will be given an extra day in school on the Friday. So in the first week it will be of course the group that comes in on Monday will also come in on Friday, but we'll write to you individually with all these details. To make sure we're practicing social distancing within our school, we will need to organise everybody into small groups. Nationally, these groups have tended to be referred to as bubbles, and that's what we'll call them here. And these will have between approximately 8 and 15 students in each bubble. The variation is of course due to the variation in our room sizes that we'll be using. The bubbles will be made up of only Year 10 and only Year 12 students, and they will tend to be organised on the lines of tutor groupings, which will tend to work best in relation to making sure that everybody at least knows each other. Each bubble will stay in their own room that they'll be allocated for each day, and there will be no mixing of bubbles or changes in rooms during lesson times. Within lesson times, what the students will be primarily doing will be continuing with their online learning, but they will also have opportunity to get face-to-face support from their classroom teachers and pastoral teams. One of the things we'd encourage all students to do in advance of coming back to school is to think very carefully about the areas that they would particularly value support with and the areas that they found most challenging during their time outside of school. During break times, we'll be able to use the outdoor spaces, which will allow students to meet with their friends and socialise while at the same time following all the social distancing guidelines. And we have put markings on site to make this much more straightforward. It is important to emphasise that once on site, no student will be allowed to leave unless going home, and unfortunately at the moment we will not be able to allow Year 12 students to go to Summertown for lunch. One of the things that will happen is that the school will be contacting you at the end of this week on Thursday or Friday to give details of the day your child is able to attend and the bubble that they are in. It's really important that students don't come back to school on times that they are not allocated to be in school. It's really essential that we work to the days and the timings that have been given. Another thing to emphasise is we've slightly changed the timings of our school day, which is designed to allow a staggered start and finish, and also to separate break times for students. So with that in mind, Year 10s will be expected to arrive at 9 AM and Year 12s at 9:45. Year 10s will leave at 2:05 and Year 12s at 2:50. We would really ask everybody to do their best to stick to these timings, because punctuality will be key in an area where we're trying to avoid the mixing of groups. We recognise that many of you have been given advice about whether you are able to return to school or not. Some of you have been shielding, and some of you are clinically vulnerable, and indeed clinically extremely vulnerable. Please follow all the advice and guidance with your parents in relation to your ability to attend school, and seek medical advice if you need to. We would advise all students to walk or cycle to school if at all possible. If students do need to use public transport, our advice is to make sure that they've checked that the timings are still appropriate, given that many transport operators now operate into different times. It's also really important to note that nationally on public transport there is a need to use face coverings from the 15th of June, which is the day we start on the Monday. And we would encourage all parents and carers and students to talk to each other about best ways to get to and from school and ensure social distancing. If you are coming to school by car, we would really ask you to be dropped off in the Ferrypool car park rather than on the Marston Ferry Road, which is a dangerous place to be dropped off at any point. What we would ask all our students to do, and our parents and carers to support with, is at the end of the day, that is your time to go straight home rather than socialising in the local community, and we would really value your support in relation to this. When students arrive at school, they will use the typical main school gate. If arriving by bicycle, they will be able to park in our bike sheds, which have been adapted to allow social distancing following a new one-way system. And staff will be on hand at all points to guide them in this. We will also be expecting students to sanitise their hands using our new sanitising and washing facilities, which are set up at the entrance to the school as they arrive as well, and then they will go to their allocated classrooms. It's important to emphasise to parents and carers that you are not permitted on school site at the moment in order to maintain social distancing and avoid the potential spread of infection. So if you wish to contact the school, please do so by telephoning or by emailing your child's year team, and we will get back to you as a matter of priority. To all our young people, we would really encourage you to assess how you're feeling at the start of each day, and if you are anyway symptomatic, then you should not come to school. You may wish to follow a really clear regime at home with your parents about checking in before you leave for school. We do, however, have our usual first aid provision and indeed additional provision in school if somebody falls ill during the time that they are in school. And we will talk to you about that in detail when you arrive and show you exactly what to expect. One thing that is really important to emphasise is that in this initial period we will not have our normal catering facilities open on site, and therefore we would really ask you to bring a packed lunch with you. There is a facility where you can order a packed lunch to be brought into school, and that is detailed in the letter that I've provided if you wish to make use of this facility. One of the things that we would want to emphasise is that we do need to have some new rules and guidelines in relation to our new situation, and we'll do the best to work with all students in explaining these in person when they arrive on their day in school. We will be expecting students to use hand sanitiser or washing facilities on arrival and as requested by staff. We will be expecting students to work to our seating plans and stick to the same seating. We will be asking them to not be running on site and not shouting. We will need everybody to follow the one-way system and to follow the social distancing markings. and we will need to ask you not to borrow or share equipment from each other, and we'll say more about equipment in a moment. We would also emphasise that our normal rules on mobile phones will apply. As regards equipment, one of our bits of guidance is to avoid transferring too much between home and school, and therefore we would ask students only to bring what they really need for the school day. We feel that this will be a packed lunch, a water bottle, and we will have staffed water stations during the day so the water bottle can be refilled, and also a wipe clean pencil case. All other equipment will be provided, and we do not need students to bring exercise or textbooks from home. If students wish to bring their own laptops, that is fine to do so, although we will make sure that within school all IT and laptop equipment that is required will be provided. We've spent quite a long time making sure that we've got the right hand washing facilities in school, and so we've added additional hand washing stations across our site installed with hot water and soap, as well as having hand sanitizer mounted outside every space that we're using for students. We will work with you on inducting you on how this will work, and we will of course be emphasising the catch it, bin it, kill it slogan, which is quite a powerful message. We've rearranged elements of our toilet facilities to support the idea of one person in and one person out, and again this will be explained to students on arrival. We will also have additional cleaning staff on site during the school day to help support keeping the site and the individual classrooms as clean as possible. The guidance that we've been following does not support the routine use of face masks or face coverings in educational settings. However, if a student wishes to wear a face covering, they're of course at their liberty to do so. One of the things that we want students to get used to is the signage and the floor markings that are on the ground and around the site to really support them with social distancing. And although it may feel strange to do so, hopefully seeing some of those features in the video will help you to understand what to expect. I appreciate that I'm giving you quite a lot of information, and a lot of that information is very factual because we think it's really important that you know these things in advance, because it will allow you to get your mind back around school more easily. However, in saying all of those things, your school is still here for you and for our staff and for our parents and carers, and therefore one of the things we want school to feel is reassuring and positive and optimistic and welcoming, and we'll do everything we can to make it feel like that from Monday. Best wishes to all of you, and hoping to see you all soon.